folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Space Usagi White Star Rising, Issue 1 by Dark Horse. Now, there is fighting, killing, shooting, assassination attempt, a giant alien worm, and some violence in this one, so if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, this is a relatively new series. It started coming out, last year. Although these might be reprints, these Space Usagi stories. So I've been told. And I just don't know. But yeah, this at least the Dark Horse came out. I think last year mostly. But it took a while for me to get to this mini series because I was missing issues from the previous Space Usagi mini series. So when I started getting these, because this directly follows that one, so I wanted to finish the previous series first. But okay, let's get into it. So yeah, this continues after Space Usagi Death and Honor. So we start with a brief history about space turtles, or the Kamamai. I'm probably butchering that, my apologies. It's Kameyama, Kameyama, although I might be butchering that too. Yeah, it starts with I'll just call them space turtles. So giant space turtles. It tells their history on how they're very much like sea turtles, where they just float in, well, in this case, in space. And when they get to a planet, because sea turtles, they need to go up for air every once in a while, or in this case, down for air. And when they get to a planet, they start eating and drinking things down below, and how some people viewed them as good fortune, and that being eaten by them is the equivalent of going to heaven. And the only time they're vulnerable is when they're just born, when they're tiny. When they're tiny, and if you see ones, like a once in a lifetime time thing, and you won't forget it. And if you happen to find a carcass of such a turtle, it is a very fortunate thing because you can use it. It's hollowed out, and then you can make a ship out of it. It's essentially the story of the turtle ship of the Shirohishi clan. So we get a history about that. Then we go get a flashback of what happened to the space turtle ship in the Death and Honor story, where the telepath lady that works with the Kagetori was about to give the codes that she took from in, she fuck again. Shit. I keep wanting to say Yokichi, but it's not Yokichi. Wait, let me just. Kiyoshi. From Kiyoshi's head, she was about to deliver the codes to Lord Nero of the Kagetori, but then these turtle spaceship got destroyed. Another smaller ship went right through the window where she was standing, the telepath lady, and she just had like a moment to send a message to her daughter. Apparently, she has a daughter, and that was it. And then there's this, but then it turns out it's a dream that her daughter has, or I should say, a nightmare. And two attendants that are in her room go and get Lord Nero, and he comforts her, and she tells him how, she wishes she could have understood her, not understood, but been there for her mom's message. Because her mom tried to send her like maybe a telepathic message, sorry, and she sorry, couldn't receive it or something. And he says it's all right, why don't you try going back to sleep? So he tucks her back in, and then he says in his head, but she hears him, that she's becoming a woman, her powers are growing, and that her powers will be even greater than her mother's. And she hears that, so obviously he's, I think, raising her to be this telepath after her mother. So there's that. So it's interesting where that's gonna go. Okay, then we go back to the Mino planet, the main planet. A Neko cyborg ninja, which is quite the interesting thing. Yeah, Neko cyborg ninja sneaks into the castle where Kiyoshi's in. He kills two guards outside. Now he also has this device that lets him get information from people's minds, like a reader of sorts. I wonder why Lord Nero doesn't have some of those. I suppose the telepath lady is maybe better because she can go really deep in. Although it seems like this device can as well, so I just not get one of those. But whatever. Um, yeah, he gets the information from the guard outside that Kiyoshi is in the East Wing. He goes to the East Wing, kills two guards there, and then sneaks into Kiyoshi's room. And it's like, okay, it'll only take a minute for me to get the information. But then he senses that something is wrong. And Kiyoshi, that's lying in the bed, is just a hologram. But then glass walls descend, and he's trapped, and then gas is pumped in, a stun gas. And then Kiyoshi and Minister Hodu appear. Kiyoshi says, okay, stop the gas and only then lift the walls. They approach the Neko cyborg ninja, but it's too late. Even though the gas is working quickly, the Neko ninja still managed to kill himself before they were able to get any information out of him. So yeah, there's they can't get any information out of him, which is a shame. And Lord Holder said, "Well, at least it's a good sign." Oh wait, no, that's a bit later. Then two attendants run into the room saying there are four dead guards, two outside and two in the corridor. And then Lord Hodu says, all right, at least get his body to the labs so we can learn something. But then the Neko Ninja's body starts to smoke, and then it explodes. They move away quickly, obviously. So there's nothing that they can learn, and looks like no one ever catches Neko Cyborg Ninja alive or dead. There's probably a mechanism that as soon as his heart stopped, it self-destructed him. So that's it, and then Lord Hodu says, "Well, this is a good sign. That means that the Kajitori have not yet gotten the codes. If they're trying to get them this way, but it won't be for long that they won't be able to do that." And then Kiyoshi, and Kiyoshi thinks, "Oh, Usagi, I really hope your plan will work." Usagi has some plan. Then we move on to some planet, much like in Star Wars, how all the planets are sand planets. It's sandy. I kept thinking Tatooine as I read that part of the story, but the scene is pretty similar there. And the original, like from the original trilogy, so sand, people covered up, or aliens and shit. Anyway, Usagi's riding this thing that's like let's call it a dinosaur camel, because it kind of resembles one. So he's riding this dinosaur camel, looking around, thinking, oh shit, am I lost? I hope I'm not lost. But then he looks into goggles and, yeah, what do you call them? Binoculars. He's, yeah, sort of binoculars. And he sees that, no, his target is right ahead. So he goes, but he's about to be jumped by some other sort of dinosaur alien thing, but he shoots it immediately, and like there's now a big hole melted in its head. Then he goes on, he reaches this, let's say, sort of a little city or town. There's a lot of aliens around because it's a festival of some sort happening. Usagi comments on it. Then he goes and he finds a big arena. He's like, oh, there's the arena. He goes in and joins the crowds. Then below, a door opens and out comes a rhino guy. He's got two katanas, like kind of like shackled to his wrists, I think. And yeah, he's yelling at the crowd like one side to finish here. I'm gonna get up there and kill every one of you. Then another much larger door opens and a fuck ugly alien worm comes out of it. It's got 3 eyes. The rhino guy looks at it and is trying to fight it, and then Usagi jumps down to help him. And then he says, are you Rogen? And he's like, yes. And then Usagi's fighting the worm. He's shooting it with his katana. He press some button that does the electrical thing again, but it doesn't do much. And Rogan tells him that. And he said, well, get back. And he throws these 2 little bombs, bombs. Anyway, 2 bombs at it, and it finally kills the giant ugly worm. Then Rogan says, well, I hope you had a plan, because the people don't look happy. And you can see all of the people are uglier, as he says, if that's possible. So then they're being surrounded slowly by all of the spectators that are now very angry that their show has been cut short. Then Usagi takes his wrist and like messages, says, "Doctor, come on, beam us up, get us out of here." And then there's an explosion at the roof of the arena, and then a spaceship appears, and it beams both Usagi and Rogan just in time, or Rogen just in time up. And then in the spaceship, there's a doctor there, and there's Tomo, Usagi's, let's call her his lady love. She asks Usagi if she should put on the invisibility mode again. He says no point because they're going to send ships towards them. And he says no point, just get us out of here with the light travel bullshit. So she does, and there's this little spaceships they send, they shoot at them, but they're already gone. So now that they're safe again, Rogan asks, no, I think Usagi then introduces the doctor. He works for the Shiro Hishi clan, and he introduces Tomo. And then Rogan recognizes him. So Rogan is what do you call him? A smuggler? Well, let's say smuggler. He steals stuff and sells it. And a few years ago, he was in the Shirohishi clan. And he somehow snuck into their castle, the White Star, and was about to make a deal, but Usagi found him and he fought him. And he actually cut off his horn in that fight. But he managed. Rogan managed to escape. and like his like the ones he was gonna make the deal with were captured, but he escaped. And the reason Usagi sought him after these few years was to because he's the only person who managed to sneak in, and he wants him to do it again because they need to get into the castle and get those codes before the Kagetori can. Also, since then, Rogan has lost an eye. I see because he has an eye patch now. So yeah, I think he's Gen from the stories in the regular Usagi. So yes, that's what he needs. And Gen's like, you're crazy. You know, there's no way this can be done. It's extremely difficult to sneak in. He said, yeah, well, me and Tomo are going to be joining you. And again, yells again, you know, for one to sneak in, but for three. And then this little spot dinosaur lizard, this one, kind of like what Kiyoshi has, but this is a cyber one that the doctor has built. He says, four, you are not leaving me here. And the doctor programmed all of the because this doctor he was the architect for the White Star Castle, and so he put all the plans of it into the little dinosaur's head, so he will lead them in. And Gen's like, "No way, drop me off at the next system." And then Usagi's like, "We will pay you a lot." And Gen's like, "Well, count me in then. Let's do it. The sooner we finish this, the sooner I get paid." So Sagi tells him, alright, get some rest. We will be there soon. They're going to do the whole plan and sneak in. Sirens again. Okay, and then, and then before it ends, again asks, like, so, you know, what did you do with my horn that you cut off? Did you, mount it in your room? Did you put it on display in a museum? Okay, now there's some loud sirens. Nothing too bad happened. Um, and then Usagi. Okay, now. Sorry. And then Usagi's like, oh, I had no use for it, so I just threw it away with the other trash. And Gen's like, what? And then that's it. That's where the comic ends. And now there's a little extra after the end. There's a story with Usagi's daughter, which I think he has with Tomo, I suspect. So he, their dad like gave her a job to like map the planets in their system, and she thinks it's boring. But then she lands on this little planet, walks around it. The air is good, and then she finds these like fuzzy little creatures that eat these beans, and then they pass gas and they float. And she finds a chunky one. It eats a lot of beans and floats a lot too. And so she decides to take it with her so that I think the same doctors in the story can check it. And then she's about to go back to her ship with it, but then there's a shadow above her. And that's where that ends too. So I think it's probably going to continue in all these three issues. Alright, so first cover. I love this lilac purple of the cover. It's very lovely. It's very cool. You got Usagi on the space camel dinosaur thing. You got the cute little spot robot. Very nice. I love the purple on the cover. Okay, then we have here the first 3 pages. As always, of course, then Sakai art. Can't go wrong there. Second, then. So yeah, you see, it's basically just about the turtles, or the space turtles. See, chomp, and you ate him. So you see, there's little sea turtles, but then they grow and eat their predators. And there's also I wonder how they fly exactly. Is it gas surrounding their bodies, or is it maybe something with telepathy? Or I'm not sure. Okay, now for the story. So I really enjoyed the first Space Usagi series, and the same is here. I love where the story's developing. It's interesting that the telepath lady has a daughter. That makes it very, very interesting. And I wonder there's a father in the picture or not. But it's interesting where it's gonna go because her daughter can hear his thoughts and she knows he probably wants to use her the same way, or to use her skills the same way her mother was giving her skills. But now it does beg a little bit the question: did she do the work for the Kajatori because she wanted to, or because of her daughter? Were they sort of holding her and her daughter captive in a way, and that's why she worked for them, or was it just she chose to? I kind of wonder about that. I mean, it's interesting either way. What was her motive then? And say, they didn't know about the daughter. Okay, she's just working for them. And I wonder if it was for her daughter specifically. That's interesting. The story about the turtle spaceship was also really interesting too. So that's interesting where it's going because I was wondering what they were going to do. As I thought at the end of the Death and Honor series, that maybe that was it with the codes. But I guess it makes sense. They need to get back into the castle to get the information. Because I suppose I thought maybe they could access it through another computer, but I suppose not. I just locked it all there. And if it was all over in the, I don't know, cyberspace or whatever they would call it there, the Kajatori would have been able to access it too, which would have been disastrous. So yeah, this does in fact make more sense that they would just hide it like this. So I'm very curious to see how this operation is gonna go. Will Usagi succeed together with Tomo and Gen and little Spot robot to get the codes and to get the information out? And then what, I wonder? And then what's going to happen to the daughter of the telepath lady? That's left to be seen. Ooh, I wonder if it'll happen that she'll actually join Usagi. Maybe. Oh, I also wonder how the wedding went because Kiyoshi was already going to marry the Mino my clan's daughter. So I wonder how that went. Do they get? Because I think some time passed in between stories. So I wonder if we'll see his wife or not. Well, that is left to be seen. But I think, as always with Stan Sky's stories is going to be a fun adventure. All right, so that is it, folks. Let me know if you've read this one, the first issue of Space Usagi White Star Rising, and what did you think about it? And that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!